Everybody, welcome back to Northernlion Plays the Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus. As of right now, can you believe it? 34 wins in a row. We're back over a month of straight victories. Interesting start. Y9LMAD4Y. Temperance is a very, very good start of a card early on, especially with the D20. If we get us, oh well, we should have done that, but if we get a big surplus, oh, I mean, we want it. We want it. We want. There you go. If we get a big surplus of red hearts, it's kind of a no-brainer. The D20 is actually a really, and you know this already, but it's taken me a while to learn it. The D20 is actually like a really solid item to build around. It kind of functions on the same principles as like the D100 and the D4, but on a... We just stood there and took it, basically. On a more micro level, you know, it's not like you're waiting for a roll that's going to win you the run. But, like, most of your rolls are probably going to turn, like, some hearts into pennies or vice versa. But some of your rolls are going to turn, like, you know, trash trinkets into demon hearts. And that's going to be, you know, in aggregate, which gives you a good chance to succeed, I think. But I'm gearing up for one big play. Dude. Can you just, like, do us all a favor and remove that item from the game? If you could just remove that item from the game, I think we would be, we'd all be greater for it. Maybe that's salt talking, but... Come on, who's out there like, my son's favorite item is the kidney bean? Shouldn't have picked that up. Hold up, hold up. AWAS. And this is Temperance. I think this is where we're going to pop Temperance. Play it once. This is very nice. Please? We're gonna grab this. We're gonna play it twice. I mean, you can't really ask for much more than that. We will still re-roll these. And actually, that gave us a pretty good play. And the other nice thing is we still have this right here. So I have a feeling that this left path is not our boss. So let's go here. So that we can at least keep ourselves honest and hit up everything on this floor. You never know when we're gonna see a big room. Room with some big potential, or a room that maybe we would just rather skip. But that's okay. Our damage is actually really good. Our rate of fire is pretty trash, but our damage is good. So this is better than it could be. So we're just watching out for the shot. We know there's going to be a shot from that orange fire. All we need is a tears upgrade. Like, everything else is pretty much working out for us. A tears upgrade. Really tie this run together. And I'm starting to get confident again. Keep in mind, like, this is a streak. And you know, it's a scary word to use sometimes. No thank you. I am the master of diagonal walking, but, you know, I already know I am. No need to prove it. But, you know, I've been confident on our previous streaks, but no other streak has had a run where we won well, no other streak out of the last 3, which really represents, like, the entire year from, you know, roughly February to now. No other streak has ever had a lost victory. How about that? It's very interesting, huh? So I'm doing this because I may actually want to become the master of diagonal walking. Obviously, to get to 5 cents gives us a good chance at an arcade on the next floor, or a chance at all of an arcade. And a chance of an arcade is worth a ton when you consider that we've also got the D20. So I think this is a situation where we leverage it a little bit, and we do those high percentage, you know, plays that maybe are a little tedious sometimes, but they get you where you need to go. Probably stop trying to, like, walk right into the enemy for no reason is another thing I would recommend. And look at that. I don't even think we're going to need to walk on top of it. That's a great trinket for us. Hermit. Speed down. Not that bad. So I think we pop AWAS, see what it gives us. Hold Hermit, and then just re-roll immediately. And dude, I got his mystery side. That's pretty sweet. That's pretty sweet. Alright, so I'm feeling great about our current situation. We may buy something there, but for now it's not urgent. It's great stuff. Today is a Thursday. I'm still getting used to, like, we used to do Check the Wire Thursday mornings. We've recently, I mean, I don't think it's like officially moved to Monday. Ever since Dan's vacation, basically I just wait for him to send me a message that's something like, hey, you want to do Check the Wire early this week? And I'm like, okay. So I'm still getting used to Thursday mornings kind of being a little bit more open for me. I normally don't do too many Isaacs on Thursdays. It's a tough call, huh? I would probably say Chemical Peel. But it's tough. Like, Mr. Mega's really good, too. So I'm hoping... I think you could choose to say it like it's a curse, you know? Like, oh... it's like Major League Baseball stats, right? Well, they've never lost a game with the top of the stadium opened up and a light drizzle on a Thursday in July. But I actually think on Thursdays we're going to be refreshed. I will say, so baseball is like, the NHL playoffs may have started, play-ins I guess, but may have started by the time this video is live, but as of right now it's like 10 days away. I'm excited for sure to watch some sports. I will admit I have been watching a little preseason baseball while cooking dinner from time to time. They play the Jays games prodigiously here, which is extremely annoying if you're not from Toronto. Because, you know, the Vancouver Canucks could win 45 games in a row. That hurts. The #1 news story of the day from Vancouver sports media would still be like, in Jays news, the catcher has a hangnail. And you're like, okay, wait. Coming up next... You know, you get the idea. You get where the metaphor is going. It's not really a metaphor. It's just a hypothetical joke. But I'm excited for the NHL playoffs, no doubt. But I've been sneaking in a little baseball. So last night there was a preseason game between the Jays and the Red Sox. I'm not a big baseball fan. I kind of admire baseball more than I actually like it. Which is to say, like, I think it's a sport where... Hold on. I would love it, don't get me wrong. I just don't think we can get in there. I do appreciate that, though. It's a sport where... Very sensible. Where, like, you know, it's a high sample size sport, which is something I enjoy. I thought those were two different color pots there. I was freaking out. By which I mean, like, I do like the playoffs of every sport. You know, it's exciting. You know, sometimes it's like winner takes all. Sometimes there's a series. You know, in the NFL, the better team can lose. You know, fairly often, because it's just a, you know, win once and you're on, lose once and you're out sort of situation. But like the logician and the statistician inside of me, much prefers the idea of a sport where you play an infinite number of games to determine what the best team actually is. So I like that of baseball, but I can't deny that when I actually watch it as a human being, I'm like, this is pretty slow. But I was watching it, and I was, while I was cooking dinner, and I was like, oh, this, you know, it's an interesting game. It's weird watching sports with no fans. I kind of hate the piped-in fake crowd noise. Because it's just like, it's a weird, like, audio uncanny valley. So there's no fans because of coronavirus, obviously. So they pipe in audio of simulated crowd noise when major events happen, but it is not even close to the same. I honestly wish they would, and I needed some kind of DPS upgrade there for sure. I honestly wish they just ran with the silence, but I get it. It's a new frontier. It's kind of a, you know, nobody's ever seen it before, so I get why they would perhaps be a little bit reticent. Just want to check our shop real quick. You know what? I think I want to check this real quick for enough money to buy something, maybe. I'm optimistic here. We could hurt ourselves to get enough money to buy something on a fire, which might actually be the right play depending on what they got for me. But anyway. Then, there was a rain delay. So, because they got nothing else on the docket for the sports channel, they just played the same game over again, and I was like, man, you gotta be some kind of fool. Imagine that, watching this game at home, not even realizing that it's already gonna be delayed in the 5th inning due to rain, and then I realized, oh no, this is the 3rd time that they played it, and I actually watched the first rerun of it. I felt like a real idiot, let me tell you. Okay, so we like this. And then PhD is pretty solid. 48-hour energy gives us something. I don't know if we should have done that, but just work with me here, because we're trying to bring something to fruition here. This is a little spicy. I'm not sure if I would recommend it. That's helpful. Something's wrong. That was not what I was looking for. Alright. I would describe this situation as dangerous. That situation so dangerous. That situation is a dangerous situation. Akon, look it up, sweetheart. If you're not afraid of some gangster rap. This is still like a decent start. It's just not, and honestly, this is now like peak fear. You don't want to have to deal with the flooded caves XL, and that's okay. You've been stuck. You've been hit by. You've been struck by. The Binding of Isaac Afterbirth. Plus, no, no. Everything was going so well. So I refuse to lose on this one. Simply because it would be my own fault. I can't have that. I think we leave those for the time being. So be realistic. Be reasonable. What do we need on this run? To get to a shop that will allow us you're okay to buy Spirit Hearts. That's the name of the game right now. Bro. That honestly sapped my will to live. Oh, that one. That one's gonna sting for a bit because it's like completely my own fault. Oh no, dude. Oh my god. Let's go over, because it's the mature decision. Alright? Let's go over what went wrong. I took pills, which is stupid because I'm smart enough to know that that doesn't work out. It gave me a tears downgrade. That's a little minor knock. What else went wrong? Should not have walking into the fire to get PhD, I think was fine. Walking into the fire to get the pill and getting something's wrong. I mean, you can see there's kind of a common thread here. So in a way, that's one of the harder pills to swallow. In the last year of Isaac, that's one of the ones that has actually like psychologically damaged me, because that was completely my own fault due to just kind of like not even memeing, just like, this will be interesting. But you know what? It is what it is. Every time, I mean, I'm not gonna frame it like losing is actually good. I think losing while you're learning is good, because you can, and then you could be like, and we're always learning, but I think that's kind of intellectually dishonest. I think that the lesson we could take from that loss is that, you know, you're not better than the game, and just because you won 34 in a row doesn't mean you're getting 35 in a row. And the lesson you really learn comes afterwards. Comes in not throwing away your next run just because you're a little salty that you lost that one. That's not a good example of that philosophy. So we're gonna... I acknowledge not my role, but literally my ownership of that loss. And you know what? We're gonna chalk it up to a momentary lapse of judgment, and we're gonna start to rebuild it starting from right now. But it is a bummer. And the good news is, with an indeterminate... Oh, we can fly. Of course. Okay, very nice, thank you. With an indeterminate length of time until the Isaac DLC comes out, there is still time for us to build an infinity streak. We could still build a run that never loses. And I'm poking some lighthearted fun at the fact that the game is, you know, been in development for quite some time. I'm not saying they're not working on it. I'm just saying it's, you know, we're waiting. But I'm not becoming the Cyberpunk fan base. It'll be ready when it's ready. I'll still be here. I'm like Ray Kurzweil. I'm taking care of my health right now so I can be around for when the singularity happens. But I swear to God, if you release it like within a couple of weeks of my newborn coming out into the world, I'm gonna be very upset. You should have talked to me first. Okay, just run. You know what? That's what we needed to learn our lesson. I'm embarrassed it took this long to learn our lesson, but if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. No more pills. If you want me to take pills in this game, make them better. Improve the ratios, Walter White. Anyway, yeah, so today's a Thursday. How are things going? I can't really complain. I have one of those, like, heart attack moments that, you know, I think you can kind of only understand if you're an adult. So I apologize, because, like, I'm sure if I heard this following anecdote... Oh, my God, you're doing it again. As a teenager, I would be like, what's the problem? But as an adult, you're like, oh, that sends a chill down my spine. As a kid, you're like, you know, you read r/no sleep, and you're like, what? Don't go downstairs, son. That's not your mother. Honey? Or like, that story about the staircases leading to nowhere in the woods. Ooh. You ready to scare all the adults out there? I got a call from the tax authority today. Sends a chill down your spine. You know, you have one new voicemail, and you expect it to be a robot telling you that you're going to jail. If you're not familiar with that, that's like the #1 spam robocall we get up in Canada. Is like, your social security number has been implicated in... You must appear before a magistrate judge and give them $500 in iTunes and Amazon gift cards. But no, this is a real human being. So it kind of scares you, because you're like... You know, the IRS, and our version of the IRS, which is called the CRA, you know, they got a reputation. That's how Al Capone went down. Even though I'm not doing anything wrong, you still, like, would prefer not to get a call out of the blue from them. But then I called them back, and they're like, oh, did you guys move? Your address is different. And I'm like, yeah, nice to speak with you. So that got the adrenaline pumping a little bit today. Also played a little bit of Trackmania today, which is always fun. It's been a good day for the most part. I mean, we're getting into very, like, extremely dad territory. Like, what else did I do today? My mother-in-law came over because they own a pressure washer. And we need to pressure wash, you know, some of the surfaces on the outside of our domicile. So I picked that up. And, you know, this Saturday... No, you can't just use high-pressured hydraulics to clean a surface. Pressure washer goes... Because it really, that is like genuinely the sound that it makes, I think. I don't know. I've never used the pressure washer before, but I have seen the TikToks of it where you just, you know, you got like a grimy fence and then the pressure washer just erases it. I wouldn't say I'm excited for it, but I'm, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. We don't really have, like, a lawn. I hate a lawn. I'll be honest. I hope that... And look, if you're part of lawn culture, I apologize, because this might seem, like, mean-spirited to you. I love a garden. Like, I've gotten to the point now, if I am driving by somebody's house, or if I, like, am at somebody's house, and they have a clear, nice garden that they've worked to maintain, I notice it. I go, wow, like, you must have done a lot of work on this. These are gorgeous. Whereas when I was younger, I was just like, I don't know, don't flowers like that just grow everywhere and prune themselves? But a lawn, I do not respect. Like, just golf course, cut grass, perfectly uniform, perfectly green, you know, no weeds. no biodiversity whatsoever. I mean, I was gonna say I hope that our generation moving forward kind of gets out of lawn culture, but we also like don't tend to own homes in as great a numbers as our parents and grandparents. So you know, be careful what you wish for, I guess. We may indeed put an end to lawn culture as we continue to live in one-bedroom condominiums. But it sucks that like what maybe looks the best for a homeowners association is not necessarily the best for like the biology of the community, you know what I mean? Like it would always be for the best to have flowers and, you know, even weeds, so that a wide array of insects, particularly bees, would come to the area and pollinate and, you know, yada yada. But instead, so many people in Arizona want to cultivate a landscape of pure, lush green grass. I don't quite understand it. I've done yard work. I have in the past. I've mowed the grass for sure. I don't mind the appearance of a lawn. There's kind of like, there's an insidious quality to it as well. I mean, we as a society, insert the Joker, we as a society, we're much more woke, it is a shorthand word, I guess, that is okay to use, than we were in like the mid-2000s when I was growing up. Mid-2000s, you see a nice lawn, you go, whoa, that's probably a lot of work. 2020, you see a nice lawn, you go, A, that's a lot of work, but wow, that's a lot of water. You're really like gonna use fresh water to make your grass look greener just so it feels nice? That seems a little selfish. Oh, and then also, like, I can't help but notice that you pruned all the biodiversity. Aren't you concerned about the loss of bees? And you might be like, yeah, society's gone crazy. But I'm like on the opposite side. I'm like, man, I can't believe people weren't thinking about that before. Like, doesn't it make it seem juvenile that you're like, I miss the days where I could just waste natural resources on a vanity project for no reason whatsoever? Maybe there's positive benefits to having a uniform lawn that I've never considered. It is nice. It's nice to lay in, like, you know, on a nice lawn, but I don't know. Sometimes what's nice to look at and what's good for the gander is not necessarily the same thing. I blame Tim Burton movies for making every scary old woman's house be covered in vines. They've done a real number on the culture. Now anytime I see a vine on a house, I'm like, a witch must live there. And she's gonna tell you how you die. That's a big fish reference, if you haven't seen it. But anyway. I don't know if it's necessarily better to have it all be concreted, which is basically where we're at. But it's not all concrete, like there's concrete surfaces, but there are plants around, and actually, you know, I got my own problems with, you know, parts of Vancouver municipal politics that I won't, like, waste your time with, but, I think we'd rather re-roll here. I don't know, though, that we actually got the better sack item, so I do know this is a better option for us. But I do think they do a pretty good job of, like, greening up the city. And it's not just superficial green. It's like it's not fake grass. Like, they do a good job maintaining some degree of biodiversity, considering it's also, you know, Canada's third largest city. Maybe second largest metropolitan area? I don't know. I don't get into that. It really screwed up my brain when I said metropolitan area, and then a second later looked at the name of the floor being the necropolis. I was like, necropolitan area? Is that the word? Turns out, by the way, that is not the word. So that item is now a persona non grata. We refuse to take... Ha ha. Good one. We refuse to take it. I'm not much of a lawn guy. That's the long and the short of this. The lawn and the short of this bit. I'm not much of a lawn individual. And why are we weak? We should be strong instead. Maybe because I've been using my orbital a little bit too much. That wouldn't surprise me. I would probably re-roll this whole run. It's good, but we could... Okay, well, put your money where your mouth is, dummy. No transformation. Stings. But we did... Oh, how dare you! We did improve our damage. I know I said I wasn't going to take anymore, but how about just these two? We did improve our damage and our rate of fire. Obviously, like, losing the mind is always going to sting. I really thought I was good enough to dodge that. This still seems fine to me. I consider this, as I say every time, I consider this my tryout. Every time I lose a streak, it may strike you as facetious, but it's not the case. I really endeavor more than usual to focus and win the next run. Now, it might appear that I don't, but that's just because I think it's harder to focus right after you lose a run. You're like, you know, I'm fed up with this world. But in reality, psychologically, I want to win this run more than I have wanted to win any run in like the past 15, just because to prove that we're not, you know, just throwing the streak out for the future. We're not we're not looking at it like let's win 100 runs in a row anymore. We look at it like let's lower our lose rate and then see where, you know, the journey takes us. We do want a spacebar item, but none of those are really good enough, in my opinion. That's probably solid enough. I'm starting to like outside chores, though. Maybe I will become not a lawn guy. I could see myself becoming a garden guy. I'm not a very good or attentive gardener right now. We do have a little herb and vegetable garden, but I don't really take advantage of it. Well, I mean, I do take the herbs out of it, but... Oh, and that got rerolled. Let's go. Okay, get me out of here. I can't resist. But I'm not an attentive plant owner. You know, I can garden a little bit on the weekends, but on the weekdays, if there's like a plant emergency, like we had some aphids that infested on our kale plants, I was like, they're goners. Maybe you could go and you could individually brush off like the aphid eggs, and then like, you know, I don't even know what you buy ladybugs on Amazon and unleash them or something like that because they're a natural predator. I'm not at that level yet. In retirement, who knows? That's a long way away, if ever. Unless I become a YouTube gardener. In which case, I wouldn't do that. That's Malf's domain. Unless Malf and I started up like a gardening podcast, maybe. But that's a project that is a 0% chance at the present moment. Why not? Why not? But for now, I'm not a good... I need... especially with us having a kid in like 2 months. Not really in the mood for any like time-intensive hobbies for the time being. Kind of just, you know, cognizant of the fact that pretty soon, me as a human being ceases to exist. I still engage in metabolic function. I still do my job, and I knock out the mortgage. However, my hopes, dreams, interests, ambitions, etc., are put on hold temporarily. And, you know, some people might look at that as like, that's not the truth. Well, I mean, I actually agree. I think that you can... You know, maybe get a burst of motivation from having a kid, a little bit of dad or mom energy, and, you know, that can motivate you to greater highs. But what I mean, you know, this is really like a laundered way of me saying my interests no longer come like first or second. You know, my interests come sometimes not at all, as Austin Powers would say. And I think that if you're not okay with that, then, you know, the praxis is very simple. You know, maybe it's not the right time to have a child if you got a choice in the matter. I'm okay with my own stuff being on the back burner. Quite frankly, I get what I want too often. It's time to return to some degree of normalcy. My job's too cushy. I play video games on the internet, and you know, if somebody's like, "Hey, great video, but not your best," I'm like, I can't believe that I have to weather the slings and arrows of the angry mob. This is ridiculous. You know, I could use a little incessant crying in my life and trying to troubleshoot an organic computer, and I'm like, what are you crying about? You're not hungry, you're not thirsty, you're not too hot, you're not too cold. What's happening? It's time for me to get my comeuppance. Oh, dude, this is a fast run. I didn't even realize. Okay, we did have a spirit heart. I didn't know. Let me out, thank you. I can't see. Give me some flies. There we go. Now, I want to be clear. I am not having a child with the express purpose of making my life worse. What I am accepting, because I don't even think it'll make your life worse. I think it makes your life worse through the lens of your previous life, if that makes sense. And sometimes people are, I don't know, we have a weird culture of talking about parenthood, where I feel like there's only, and I mean, again, I'm not a parent yet, but we're getting there. Where I feel like there's only two ways you can talk about it. You can only talk about it as if it's the most beautiful thing on earth, and if you ever say anything like, hey, sometimes my baby's annoying, people are like, how dare you? Come on, dude. And the alternative is you can only be like, I hate kids. I'm never gonna have kids. I think kids are stupid and icky. Okay, we may want to slow our roll. I'm excited. That's a good one. Any tinted rocks in here? We do have 16 bombs. Let's go fishing. I think it, you know, I accept, let's go. I told you I wanted to win. I accept that through the lens of, you know, 30-year-old me's eyes, 32-year-old me is gonna have, on paper, a worse life. Like, from a video game standpoint, the back of the box is not going to be as impressive. Sleep? What the heck? Last year's version of the game had 8 hours of sleep. This year's version has 4? I'm paying for a downgrade? What gives? Peaceful quality of life? What the heck? There's some kind of audio bug where this, I hear human beings cry 5 or 6 hours a day. Did anyone even QA this before they sent it out? But what you get is almost like, so yes, I am going to go there. What you get, I think, I hope, is almost like a little bit of a deadly premonition sort of situation. Where you're like, yeah, getting, you know, 4 hours of sleep instead of 8 sucks. And then, like, you know, cleaning up poop. Which, by the way, is so far down my list. I get that people are different. But, like, if I could change twice as many diapers to get a normal amount of sleep, I absolutely would do it. That wouldn't bother me in the least. I mean, it would, I guess it would literally bother me in the least. But it would be a trade I would take in a heartbeat, nonetheless. And, you know, sure, your peaceful life being replaced by, you know, the cries of your human infant is, you know, on an objective level, unpleasant. But what you get in return for that is a, you know, a one-of-a-kind, truly transcendent experience that money couldn't buy. You know? That's my thoughts on it. But I think people who are like, you know, having a kid is exclusively magic. I mean, I'm not there yet. I would love to be proven wrong on this one. But, like, having a kid is exclusively magic, I'm like, I don't know about that. People that are like, having a kid exclusively would suck. I'm like, you know. I mean, you're making the right decision in most situations to not have a kid then. I feel for you, by the way, because it's one of those things where, like, I know there is a huge child-free community where, like, it's a community that is surrounding the culture of not having a kid. And I always feel a little bad because I guess I just never had the situation in my life where people were pressuring me to have kids so much that, like, I felt like it was necessary to join a community that is the opposite. But I guess it does exist out there. I've maybe been lucky to never be privy to it. I don't know. My mom did start to make, not jokes, let's call them allusions to having a child. They shouldn't have just stood there and taken that one, or that one for that matter. This is spicier than it should be. Me when I ate that pizza. Remember that? Remember the pizza story? Maybe yes, maybe no. I'm not going to explain it. We're too close to the end of the video. Basically, I was at Kate and I went out to eat and I ordered a spicy pizza. But then when it came out, it was 10 times spicier than I thought was even plausible. And then when we left the restaurant, the chef was out at the front and was like, hey, how'd you like that pizza? And I was like, oh, it's pretty good. And then he was like, was it spicy? And to this day, I maintain that I think I was the victim of an act of food terrorism. Hey, that's not that good, but okay. But yeah, my mom was like, you know, when I was a kid, she was like, we don't really care if you want to have grandkids or whatever. And then, you know, as I got older, she was like, you know, we don't really care if you have grandkids or whatever. And I was like, I get it. We'll get on it, all right? No, they didn't pressure me at all. Genuinely. Which I think is big of them. I mean, yeah, it's my life, but at the same time, you know, as their only child, you know, it's kind of like a one-shot deal. It's the way it should be, don't get me wrong, that if I'm like, I don't want to have kids, like, they don't get to experience grandkids because it's my life. However, I'm sure that, you know, from their perspective, they're like, we're glad he is. Anyway, I don't know where I'm going with that. We kind of hit a dead end there. But you know what? I need to bring it back to Isaac. Even if we lose this run, which is actually still plausible, I feel like we at least got over the loss. And you know, okay. It's like it's a psychological thing. Like losing a streak is not trauma, but it's a little traumatic. Number 2 is, I'm just not equipped to deal with that right now. Oh no. So just to get over the loss, psychologically, means something. Did you have to give me that? Like, if you gave me some red hearts out of it, I wouldn't sweat it. That doesn't matter at all, but, like, we really gave our all to that room. And you stabbed me in the back. No red hearts, really? But I've come to terms, like, if we lose this run, it's okay. We can start anew tomorrow. I still do want to win this run, though you may not believe it from my play. Anyway, it is what it is. We're going to start again tomorrow. For now, thanks for watching. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. I'll see you next time. Let's leave it at that. See ya.